I would like to say that, just keep on praying. I know that it is very easy to say, but keep on praying, and hopefully one day the justice will find its way to your hearts.
Over the past decade in Turkey, millions of individuals have been subjected to social genocide. An investigation was opened against 2,217,572 people. More than 500,000 people were arrested. 864 babies grew up in prison. More than 300,000 public employees were dismissed from their positions. 984 people died. A story can change thousands of lives. However, there are some stories that do not just change.
It's speechless and very emotionally charged right now, and it is a hard place to be, because everybody, like from Turkish people to Kurdish people, because injustice doesn't have any kind of nationality. Injustice basically affects everybody, every single culture, and I just hope that it'll end someday soon.
We use statistics or we use big words to talk about, but it's really the stories that touch your heart about the impact of what this authoritarian regime is having on the people. I believe that through organizing like this, we say don't agonize, organize. So I believe that organizing, taking our feelings of anger and frustration, putting them into action, and gathering people to build political will and people power is, I think, very effective in pushing back against this kind of abuse of power. I think Hatice, I'm a mom, and moms do whatever we can to help our kids. So I'm so sorry that she was lost and her kids are lost.
I feel sad. I won't forget how the new government did this to people working for Hizmet or as a teacher, putting them in jail for no reason. Hopefully they get out of jail very fast so they can meet their family.
But I want to mention Bahadur, who committed suicide because his parents were both detained by the government. I'm saying this because I have my cousins who are at the same age and whose parents were also detained. And it's really sad that a lot of the youth have to go through this in Turkey right now. We should raise awareness when we can, and also keep in mind that everyone that we talk to has a story, so we should make sure that we're listening to each other as well. I'm honored to be part of this such a good event, and all of the stories that are heard today, I hope everybody reaches freedom one day.
I guess sadness. It's just really difficult to hear some of these stories, but also so important, particularly to have young people from the Turkish community across Waterloo region helping share the stories of human rights violations that are happening in Turkey right now. Yeah, well, in particular, it was of a young person I had learned about. I want to be careful to not trigger folks, to be mindful of how difficult some of these stories are. But it was of a young person who had been murdered in 2016, and I was shared the story by a young high school student in our community. And so it just to think of how different things are in Turkey right now for that young person as compared to a young person in our community, it really hit home for me when we think about whether it's someone who's lost their life or been arbitrarily detained or tortured. These are stories we don't forget. Those voices need to be heard by folks in governments around the world, and certainly in our Canadian government, and that's what I'll be bringing forward from the events this afternoon.
Definitely. Overwhelmed. Well, actually, one of the speakers this morning, or I guess it was just earlier this afternoon, she described how she got here to Canada and how she was in a boat with her 3 children and made it to Greece. Many people don't. And she was fortunate that she did, and she ended up making it all the way here to Canada. through the help of the government officials on the ground there in Greece. And so I'm so happy that her story has a positive outcome where so many don't. And we remember them today. Don't give up hope. And I'm sure it must be so disheartening and living in those circumstances to even see any hope or light at the end of the tunnel. But you know, as long as there's light, there's hope, and you just have to keep plodding along every day. And we need to remember them and keep them close in thought. Those of us born here in Canada, through the luck of the draw, we have no idea and concept of the suffering that some people are going through around the world. That's why these stories and these exhibits are so important.